Our homes have become offices, classrooms, even gyms. So if you're going to be spending more time inside, shouldn't it become your sanctuary? October 20 to 27 is Design Week. Your chance to turn your space into just that. With our NCB Home Equity Loan, you can use the value in your home to make your place into your piece. And with our credit card installment plan, you get 0% interest rates and flexible payment opportunities with a single purchase over $100,000 at select merchants. Apply for an NCB credit card now. Your sanctuary awaits.
The National Housing Trust brings you improved services online at any time, any place. Find out how much you can borrow. Check your contributions. Apply for refunds. Check mortgage. Make payments and much more. That's NHT Online. Download at the App Store and Google Play Store or log on to online.nht.gov.jm. The National Housing Trust online.
Style up your space with H&L Rapid True Value. From October 23 to 30, up to 60% off housewares, paints, and paint accessories. You definitely don't want to miss it. Delivery and curbside pickup available.
ARC is one of the leading manufacturers and distributors of building materials in Jamaica. We have been serving our global customers and partners, from builders, contractors, interior designers, with innovation, leveraging technology, superior quality, service, and efficiency. We boast a vast product line of building materials such as nails, roofing, steel, wire, fabric mesh, cement, lumber, and much more.
Incredible as it might seem, Design Week JA is in its 5th year. Welcome. My name is Novia MacDonald-White, and thankfully we are powered by National Commercial Bank, National Housing Trust, Hardware and Lumber, Rapid True Value, and ARC. I'm joined in studio by Nicole Brackett-Walter from the National Commercial Bank, and Anjali, no stranger, Anjali Martin-Spencer, no stranger to Design Week. Our theme this year, Echo is Essential. And today is October the 20th, the official start of Design Week, and we are absolutely delighted to welcome to Echo is Essential, Sustainability, the new hallmark of living, and Conscious Design, the only way forward. Our panelists this morning, Heather Pinnock, General Manager, UDC, Stuart Barnes, Branch Manager, NCB Fairview Financial Center, Todd Myers, Senior Consultant, Paint, True Value International, Dwayne Burbick, Manager, Corporate and Public Affairs, NHT, Patricia Henry, aka Budget Auntie, Chartered Accountant, Dinelle Barnes, Managing Director, ARC, Jude Leach, Head of Retail, Timothy Alton, and Emma Alexander, Gallery Manager, Timothy Alton, Barbados. Now, I think coffee is sustainable enough not to show about the condensed milk, but add condensed milk in any case. Sit back and enjoy what we have in store for you. I'm positive that we will. Heather Pinnock kicks off this morning. Heather leads the Urban Development Corporation of Jamaica and is a champion of sustainable tropical living. She's deeply committed to an equitable and resilient future for Jamaica. Welcome, Heather, and thank you very much.
Thank you, and congratulations on year 5.
Thank you very much. We are super excited. Who knew, right, Angie?
I can't believe it's been 5 years.
Who knew?
Who knew? I knew.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, so I get to lead off this morning to talk about sustainability, which I'm happy to say is my absolute favorite topic. Many of you may know me as leading the Urban Development Corporation, and there we have a slogan that we make development happen. And over the last 5 or so years, I would say that that slogan has been changed just a little bit to say making development happen sustainably. So let's talk about sustainability a bit. I'm going to have both good and bad news. So let me start with the bad news. Always good to start with the bad news, so remember the good. The bad news is we are in difficult times, and we are looking at an even more difficult future. Climate change is real and has been deeply affecting us here in Jamaica and in all small island developing states across the world, much more than it has in other areas. As we move towards COP26, the Conference of the Parties, which is our big climate change discussion at the end of November, you'll see a lot of talk about climate commitments and what various countries are going to do. And I want my fellow small island developing state citizens to recognize that these conversations are very important for us, because you will see that even though the Caribbean, for example, emits less than 1% of the global carbon emissions, we suffer from the effects of climate change and in a disproportionately greater amount than other countries. We suffer from hurricanes, we suffer from severe droughts, and these are the kinds of things we need to consider with climate change. Other difficulties to think about in our uncertain future is the other things that can happen, things we would never have thought of, like a pandemic. Here we are living through a pandemic, the first in about 100 and odd years. Again, these are things that seem so far away and unlikely, and yet have now become a reality. So when we look at this reality, and we look at the difficulties that we're likely to face based on our geography as a country, as a region, we have to think, what can we do? How do we address this? We are staring into an uncertain future, but do we just simply go forward afraid? And my answer is definitely no. And that's where the good news is. The good news is there are things we can do. There are things we can do at an international level, and that's where we have like the Conference of the Parties and looking at setting things. You will see things like the tagline 1.5 to stay alive. 1.5 degrees is the amount of change that we are asking for, debating for at COP26 to ensure that small island developing states like Jamaica, like Barbados, where Emma is, are able to thrive as we go forward. And those are some of the things that happen at the global level. Then we have things we can do and we can respond to at a regional level. And then we have national level with things that the government can do. People like me and Dwayne and Pat to some degree are here also representing the government. But then it also comes down to what can we do as an individual, at a personal level to really change how that goes forward. And that is really the basis of considering sustainability. So to talk about sustainable design, I think one of the first important things is to define sustainability. So what is sustainability? Sustainability considers three main pillars, and that is three intersecting areas, I should say. And that is the intersection of the economy, and that is what do things cost, how do things affect us financially, and we have financial representatives here, which is an important part of considering that. Economy is a key part in that, in the triple considerations of sustainability. Another section is society, and that is how do people see things? How do people respond to things? What are the things society wants? What are the things consumers want? What are the things that are driving decisions? And so that speaks to society, speaks to that element. And the third element in sustainability is the environment, which is that we should not do anything economically or socially that would affect the environment. And so all three need to be in equilibrium for us to have a sustainable future. So I would encourage you to read the article that I wrote in the Observer, which goes into that in far more detail, which I won't go into now, but essentially to say that at its core, sustainability is considered to be not making decisions today that will affect the future and affect our children and the people in the future's ability to make decisions. So what do we do today to be responsible socially, economically, and environmentally in everything we do? And of course, how do we design our lives, our homes, our world to take us forward so that we not only survive in an uncertain future, but that we are able to thrive.
Thank you very much, Heather. Talk about succinct and to the point. That's what happens when you know your subject. And from surviving, and not just surviving, Heather has indicated, Stuart, but to thrive. So that's why you notice you were placed immediately after Heather, because we are obviously interested in surviving, but to survive, we need to thrive. Right, Stuart?
That's correct. Good morning. Good morning. Congratulations on your 5 years.
Thank you.
I always love this time of year. I enjoy this program so much, and I'm happy to be a part of it this year. So yes, NCB is pleased to be a sponsor this year. And as we go through this pandemic, this environment, we are strategic partners for the persons we serve and the businesses we serve. We understand the stress that our customers and our partners are going through, the stress of working from home, reduced income, to trying to get children engaged because they're home, working on their laptops, achieving both personal and business targets. You deserve a little comfort. You deserve a little reward for being resilient. And, as we become sustainable, it is a process of looking at ourselves in terms of health and looking at wealth, because both of them are very important for us to be sustainable. So, when you look at wealth, NCB has done a number of things to ensure that our customers continue to stay alive and healthy in terms of, their financial resources. So over a period of time, when we realized, especially on the North Coast, when the hotels and the cruise ships stopped coming and the hotels were closed, we actually offered deferral payments to our customers to actually give them a lifeline. Because long after this pandemic, we will be here, we will be rebuilding. And so we need to preserve what we have at this point in time, because this is temporary, so that we can move forward as we get vaccinated and as persons go back to their normal lives. And so we actually have solutions, short-term solutions, long-term solutions, to create this kind of environment at home. We find that most persons are actually working from home at this point in time. And, before now, we weren't so connected with the space. It was somewhere you get rested, somewhere you relax. And now it is a space that has some business side to it, and it's a space that has relaxation side to it. And so we have created the opportunity for persons who just want to do a little thing, to make themselves more comfortable in terms of the credit card installment plan, where anything over $100,000, you can actually spend that amount and pay nothing for up to 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to get a new sofa, if you want to get some exercise equipment to really push health, if you want to set up your office, in a way that is more comfortable, air conditioned, all of that kind of thing, this facility is one that we have made available to you. Can you imagine that? 3 months, 0%, just to give you that reward for being resilient, just to give you that reward for really sticking through and trying to find a path of success through this pandemic. If it is that you decide that you're going to be keeping this facility for a little longer, then there are other rates that apply, which are smaller rates. That's like 10% for 6 months and 25% for 12 months. And these are unsecured credits. And this is our way of saying we understand the stress. We understand that you are trying to survive. You're trying to be resilient. And we are supporting you in trying to make your home that little sanctuary that gives you that peace of mind and help you to not only focus, but thrive during this time. And for those persons who would want a little more space, we have the home equity loan. And this is perfect for consolidation, one, two, for expanding where you live, for creating a real nice home office, where you can do everything that you'd really want to do at the regular office. And guess what? The rate is as low as 7.99%. So, as we support and as we partner with individuals through this pandemic, we try to be corporate citizens, good corporate citizens, participating in team building and business building and personal building activities that's on the personal side, to try to see how we can give you that additional tool or information that's required to really survive and to become more resilient. And on the financial side, we have these products that can create and enhance your sanctuary and can help you to live a better life and to be a better version of yourself. Thank you.
Stuart, I don't understand why you've got all the money in Montego Bay, because, I have Nicole here and we will have a conversation afterwards, because, I'm coming for that 0% for 3 months, 100,000, because we need to take that money to Hardware and Lumber this Saturday especially to purchase things. Right, Todd?
I would love that.
Don't worry, we'll be there bright and early on Saturday. We will also tell your cashier that Stuart Barnes sent us, so we have the line of credit, right, with 0%, because we need to get Angie in. Right, fix up. We're fixing up for Christmas, Todd. Todd, you really have been way ahead of this game. I mean, the theme was never sustainable design when we first met. I mean, we had a rainstorm in Jamaica that weekend, yes, but we had no idea that the pandemic was around the corner. So, Todd, what would you like to share with us, to add further knowledge and to also, of course, let us know what you have been doing, or rather continue to do?
Yeah, the paint industry was kind of a little slow to adopt or adapt to the eco movement. There were some early paint companies that did get involved early on, but the challenge was always the quality of the product. It's great to have a product that is environmentally friendly, but it's also important to have a product that is going to perform. And we were a little bit slower to adopt, but we did move our VOCs levels. Volatile organic compounds is what we're concerned with in the paint industry. And those are the unnatural gases that are given off by paint as it dries and cures. The standard for paint was about 250 grams per liter, VOC for low sheen paints, and 380 grams per liter for anything with a higher sheen. And wow, it's probably been close to 10, 11 years ago, we lowered our products to 50 grams per liter to create what was considered at the time a low VOC paint. But then we saw some new technology coming on board and into the industry that enabled us to actually drop the VOC levels all the way down to 5 grams per liter or less on our flat, eggshell, and satin finishes, which makes it a ultra low VOC. And since there has been some clarification on some legal challenges between the Federal Trade Commission here in the United States and the EPA, we can safely say that we have a zero VOC product. Anything less than 5 grams per liter can be marketed as a zero VOC product now. At the same, and we did that in early spring of 2013. So then we followed up and said, you know what? The colorants that go into creating the colors that you absolutely love aren't necessarily low VOC. So we took it upon ourselves to move to a low VOC colorant as well. So what that enabled us to do is have some of the most environmentally friendly products available in any color that you might desire. So we went through some extensive testing through a lot of different certifications. And we are happy to announce that we are the only plant or only paint on the planet with our Easy Care Ultra Premium Interior Flat Eggshell and Satin Finish that has all of these different certifications. We are Master Painter Institute certified. We are UL Green Guard certified. We are GreenWise Gold certified. We meet the requirements for LEED constructed buildings. Part of LEED is also has a portion called the Collaborative for High Performance Schools, CHPS. And Berkeley Analytical is one of those that provides a lot of the testing. And the biggest one and the most difficult to achieve is the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America certification. What that means is, here in the United States, we have about 25 million people that are affected by asthma. Asthma is something really scary. And for someone that is sensitive to the triggers that cause an allergic or asthma attack, painting is very difficult for them. And with our product, it contains nothing that causes the triggers that will initiate any kind of asthma attack. And it's a big deal, and it's an international certification. I'm sure that Jamaica is no different than the United States when it comes to asthma, as far as it comes to allergies. So our product, our Easy Care Ultra Premium product in flat eggshell satin finishes, are the best choice for anybody that's living with asthma or allergies. Just hands down, great product, and it's something you can find at H&L Rapid True Value.
You know, Todd, it's an open secret that you are my favorite guy outside of Jamaica, right? Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you very much for using our Design Week platform to break that news, because that's really important. Yes, Todd, I mean, asthma and allergies seriously affect quite a few of us in Jamaica. So we are happy to hear that. And that paint, of course, is available. I told you, Stuart, that's why I need the money with alacrity, so please ensure that it's available, because we are going to buy all of the paint on Saturday. Thank you. Which color do you think we should buy? What's the color for the season? What's the color of the year, Todd? Come on, you're keeping secrets.
There you go.
We're not hearing you. Unmute. You're muted. You're still right. Yes. Okay. So
all right. Well,
so drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. The color is.
I thought that you might ask. So we just announced our 2022 colors. First one is called Elm Street. Oh. It is a muted green gray. Nice neutral, goes with a ton of things. And then we had to have a splash of color. So Brilliant Berry is hard to see, but it is a purplish color.
I'm liking that one. I'm loving that one. Okay, Stuart, send the money now, please, Stuart. Thank you. And Todd, you have that available, right? Because we're coming on Saturday, so we just want to ensure that Easy Care and in those colors. Because today's October the 20th, we don't have that much time for Christmas, guys. So, you heard it first here, 5th staging of Design Week JA, and Stuart has all the money. He's in Montego Bay, but then I'm sure he has colleagues in Kingston who would happily serve you. And Todd just told you, H&L, they've got all the paint. Oh my God, this is really, it's going on swimmingly well. You know, perfect time, I think, to introduce Dwayne Burbick, because, you know, Dwayne is even more excitable than I am. So, I mean, if that's at all possible. Dwayne, welcome. Thank you, Todd.
Nubia, thanks for having me, and it's been an awesome journey with you and the O team for Design Week for these past. I believe we've been with you 4 of your 5 years.
That's correct.
And we're looking forward to even more.
Thank you very much, Dwayne. So, you've heard what Heather's had to say. Well, you know, Stuart's got all the money, Todd's got all the paint. So, Dwayne, you know, what are you up to? What have you been up to?
Okay, well, Novia Heather painted a very sobering picture of where we are as a developing nation. And I'm proud to say the National Housing Trust is part of that conversation, that all hands on deck approach that Heather spoke about that is needed as we work towards ensuring that our environment is sustainable. We at the NHT, we ensure we don't just build houses, that's our mantra, we build communities. And we have to ensure that the spaces and the places in which we are housing our contributors are spaces that are indeed sustainable. So we work with our municipal corporations to ensure that every parish in Jamaica has a parish development plan that guides the development activity that takes place across the island. In addition to that, we look at sustainability in 2 ways, not just from the business standpoint, the NHT, the organization, but also in terms of products and services that we offer to our contributors as well. So from an organizational standpoint, we've embarked on a net zero energy building project in collaboration with the Institute of Sustainable Development at UWI and also with the UNDP. And what we're doing at the NHT's head office is that we're reducing our energy consumption by 46%. And we estimated that 46% reduction, we're looking to save almost $500,000 per year. That's big money, that's big savings. Yeah. And we're hoping that it's a project, we're well down the wicket, we're halfway there, and it's a project upon completion. We're hoping that we will be able to share with other entities as well, both in the public and private sector, to see how collectively we can reduce energy consumption and ensure that our environment is indeed sustainable. And we brought that down to our staff as well. In terms of recycling projects, we have plastic bottle depository that staff, collect their plastic bottles at home and they can come and drop them off at work. We did away with those. We did away with the little cups that we have at the tea stations, and we ensure that every staff member has a personalized cup. Yes. So there's no need to be having those, buying those cups that become a little bit annoying, as I can tell you, when we don't dispose of them properly. So we ensure that all our staff have personalized cups that they can bring to the tea station, and ensure as well that in our disposal areas we have boxes for recycling from our other types of garbage. From a construction standpoint, we've embarked on a project with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica to see how we can incorporate bamboo in our construction mix. So we spent just about $54 million on research in a community called Peckham in Clarendon, where we're building a bamboo plant where the residents will be able to grow bamboo and also use the plant to undertake different kind of activities to see what byproducts from bamboo they can get out that can keep their community sustainable. And the benefit for us at the NHT is that we're looking to see how we can incorporate that into the construction mix to ensure that we're able to build more resilient houses, more eco-friendly houses, and also at affordable price points that our contributors can afford. We're also looking at generally alternative building solutions, and we've made lands available. So if you're a developer out there and you have a eco-friendly building option, we want to have that conversation with you. We want to have that discussion with you. We have the land, and we don't have as much money as Stuart, but we have a little money. put and work together to ensure that we can, undertake alternative building solutions to ensure that we're building houses that are, as I said before, resilient. And for our customers, I believe that as an NHT, we've given our customers one of the best gifts you can ever think of when it comes to the environment and sustainability, and that is Emancipation Park. For Jamaica's 50th anniversary, and when you think about the history of Emancipation Park, coming from a racetrack, and you may ask, what is a dollar worth? Emancipation Park was bought for $1, and look at it today. It is that symbol, I would want to say, that hallmark, that, I'm running out of words, that you can help me find a proper one. But it is that embodiment of that harmony that we need to have with the environment and people and sustainable development is concerned. And so the NHT is committed to that, to ensuring that persons have that green space that they can come to for relaxation, for exercise, for enjoyment, for entertainment, and for a host of other activities, all above board and legal, of course. And speaking of green spaces, that's an approach we've taken towards our newer developments as well, to ensure that in every NHT development, there are green spaces. There are play areas for children, there's a jogging trail, and just create that kind of harmony where persons can have a greater appreciation about the environment. And we also ensure that with every new development that the NHT builds, the new homeowners, they get 2 fruit trees. So we're not just saying go and live well with your environment, but we're putting you on the right path from day one by giving you 2 fruit trees that you can plant, in your space to ensure that you are not just environmentally conscious, but Heather will tell you it benefits you in the long run as well as it relates to your AC bill. If you're in a cooler space with trees around you, and we are specific about the types of trees that we actually give them as well, then you will be much cooler, and there'll be a less reliance on air conditioning because your home, your space, your sanctuary is cool. And on the final point I want to touch on is that of the products that we make available to our contributors and our mortgagors. Persons ask me all the time, Novia, when is the NHT going to give an AC loan? No, we're not going to be giving you an AC loan. What we instead give you are solar-related product loans. So we have our solar water heater loan, $250,000, 5 years to repay at a tiny interest rate of 3%, that individuals can convert their water systems at home to solar power. And also for our existing homeowners as well, we have solar panels. We can access through the NHT up to $2.5 million. Maximum interest rate there is 4% that they can use to make their homes more eco-friendly. So we have those products. As I mentioned, we're attacking and taking on this need for a sustainable environment in 2 ways. From the business side, ensuring that what we do in the housing construction industry, that we are not just taking, but that we're giving back to the environment as we build that kind of harmony. And also not just as an organization, but to ensure that level of sustainability, that consciousness that is needed to ensure that we protect the environment is also filtered down to our staff and ultimately to our contributors and our marketers as well.
Dwayne, thank you very much. Todd might be my favorite guy outside of Jamaica, but you remain our absolute favorite breath of fresh air. Emancipation Park, it's sustainability at work, Dwayne. I mean, all of the points that you have echoed, I don't know if Angeli or Nicole wants to add anything. It's amazing. Yes, well, nobody, Dwayne, between us here, nobody has as much money as Stuart, but we love the fact that, we love the solar panels story, and we will be talking to you because, as you said, it's available once you are contributing. Is that correct, Dwayne?
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
So I think Heather I see the smile on Heather's face. So I think she's mightily pleased. In fact, we are too here as well, because listen, this is the 5th year of Design Week. We have grown. We continue to grow from day one. We didn't know that Dwayne was a veritable breath of fresh air when we first started. We literally just started. And I have to shout out to our Deputy Managing Director, Natalie Chin, because our partners have been strategic, right? National Commercial Bank, of course, Stuart has all the money. Everybody on this panel, Dwayne, we've heard from Dwayne, we've heard from Todd. You're here for a reason, to move us. Yes, we all want, a prettier setting. Yes, we all want this and we all want that, but we've got to ensure that our country continues to thrive and survive in this uncertain future. So I'm loving the fact, Dwayne, that, there are trees now. I mean, who knew? That's big thinking. You've got to now think beyond, right? Building, getting the community involved. Bamboo. You never heard those conversations coming from NHT. I dare say before we discovered you, Dwayne. So keep it going. I looked at Heather and I saw her smile throughout, right? So don't worry, Dwayne. We'll get you some more money from NCB. They will give you some more money, and what we can't get from NHT, we will certainly get from Stuart. What we can't get from you, Dwayne, we'll definitely get from Stuart. Now, there's nothing like having somebody tell you their story. Nobody tells somebody's story better than they do. And for those of us familiar with Pat, AKA Budget Auntie, when Budget Auntie throws out suggestions, nuggets of wisdom, we listen, because Budget Auntie saves, and then she knows, what she's doing with the money. Well, she was showing off at GoldenEye this weekend. Those who can do, those who can't watch. So, Dwayne, here's an example of somebody whose first home was purchased because of NHT. So without further ado, Pat, I'd like to introduce you to Patricia Henry, AKA Budget Auntie, who is a chartered accountant. She also, Heather shared with me, sits on the board of UDC. So it's great to have you, wearing several hats, I suggest, Pat, chartered accountant, Budget Auntie, board member. Well, in the beginning, there was an NHT loan. I dare say that was before Dwayne was born. Oops, yes. Over to you, Pat.
Good morning, and congratulations on your 5.
Thank you much.
Just going to talk a little bit about my personal journey to homeownership. At 25, I already had my 2 children, teenage pregnancy. At 25, I landed my first job here in Kingston, and the children were still living in St. Thomas. St. Thomas is rural and 50 miles from Kingston. The children were still living in St. Thomas, and I was traveling to work daily. It was taking a toll on me. So I started looking for a car to buy. But in those days, there were no used car market, and it was difficult to come by. Dwayne wouldn't know that.
No.
Anyway, one Friday evening, my managing director summoned me to his office, and he spoke to me about owning a car, an appreciating asset, or owning a home, and an appreciating asset versus a car, a depreciating asset. So he spoke to me about that because he got wind that I was looking for this car to buy. I went home the evening in turmoil because owning a car back then was big profile. It was a big deal, and I was commuting daily. I discussed it with my family and friends over the weekend, and everybody, said, well, you should buy the car. At least you would be coming home earlier to the children and whatnot. But the decision was mine to make. And so I turned up Monday morning and went back to my managing director and said, I am ready to take the leap. I was armed with my pension contribution from my previous job, so at least I had my deposit. What was also good about it is that we worked with the Matalon group at the time, so I could complete my application in the office. Went to NHT, sort out my thing, and then it was now time for me to complete the application. Dwayne again would know that when they were selling Portmore, we had crowds converging at the arena, people selling places in line. But fortunately for me, I was able to complete the application right there in the boardroom. So at 25, I was a single mom with 2 children, and I owned a house in Greater Portmore, 3 North. I couldn't even find a place. So Greater Portmore, I would say then, was a low-income community just outside of Kingston. So it was now time for me to move the children over to Kingston. I toyed with the idea of living in Portmore or living somewhere else. Portmore was not as it is today. There was no toll road, and there were stories of families leaving 4:30, 4 o'clock to beat the traffic into Kingston for work. So I thought about it long and hard. The children were already coming from rural Jamaica, so I really want them to acclimatize to city life a little easier than that. So I decided that, maybe it's best for us to live in Kingston. I rented a house in Portmore and rented a house in Kingston. But guess what? The house in Kingston was 3 times my mortgage. Whoa. It was very difficult for me to explain that to persons. And so I just locked down the conversation. But what it provided for us was some comfort. Children were going to primary school. I was studying, I was working, I was trying to get a car by then. So it was very easy for us to live in Kingston, although I was paying so much more for rent. We settled down, children went to high school. I was fast becoming a chartered accountant. I was getting promotion after promotion. And I was saving. And then the time came, I said, well, it's now time to sell Greater Portmore. That served me well, never lived there, but the rent was from the tenant was covering the mortgage. I sold the house with ease, and that was my deposit for a nice place, middle-income community now on top of Beverly Hills. And so I moved to Long Mountain. Nice green lawn, big space, and we were now living in a townhouse. No, so I went to my mortgager and got a 30-year mortgage. Didn't ask much question. The monthly payment was manageable, and so I took the mortgage 30 years along with my NHD contribution, of course. A few years after, I realized that interest rates were falling. And so I went back to the mortgager and asked for a revision of the loan. Now, that is what you really call refinancing. So, but normally persons refinance their loan and with the hope of getting a lower monthly payment. But instead of taking a lower monthly payment, I asked them to reduce the duration of the loan. I did that a couple of times, and before you know it, I had a 15-year mortgage on hand. So my equity in the property is moving at a fast pace. If you don't ask, you don't get. So you have to talk to your mortgage company about the duration of the loan. It's 30, it could be 30, it could be 25, it could be 20. You'd be surprised to know that sometimes the difference in a 30-year mortgage versus a 25-year is so minimal, you could afford it, but the mortgage company is not going to tell you that. Anyway, we lived in the property. There came, now it was now year 15. I was mortgage free. The children completed university. I'm a chartered accountant. I was saving more money. And I decided at that time that maybe I need to do, some serious renovation. So I started shopping around, maybe looking at kitchens, and then it dawned on me that maybe I should research the housing market since I was out for 15 years. And I was quite intrigued. So I decided at that time that I was gonna sell Long Mountain and buy another place. I was moving up to another neighborhood, moving up the ownership chain. I was moving closer to Jacksonville, which is a desirable neighborhood. And so one ad in the paper and Long Mountain was sold. I had enough money. And so I bought a house cash in the Millsboro area. I bought it at pre-construction rate. I knew my value was gonna move much more than a community that was now 15 years old. So I knew that Millsboro was gonna move at a faster pace. But they paid on the unit in 2018 and waited since it was pre-construction. And March 2020, I moved in to my new place. I had an article in the Observer on Sunday, and I spoke about my value increasing 60%. I am here to tell you that my value has increased by some 90%, three years in, because I have property here selling, and on Saturday, I realized the article was already in press, and I couldn't believe that the house value had moved so much. So I moved from a townhouse to an apartment. I was very comfortable with that. The square footage was more. And what I did was to opt for a ground floor so that I could still enjoy some green space and plant a little garden at the back. So I was very conscious how I was decorating, and maybe that is why I'm on the panel today, because last year in the pandemic, I was just sharing tidbits, of just sustainable ways to really improve on your space. Like I use pallets to create like planter box, and I was showing those, and I think somebody at the Observer picked up that, and maybe that is why I'm here sitting with you today. So the moral of the story is you have to know where you are in the spectrum of life. You can always start small. I never lived at a house in Portmore, but that is what helped me to leverage as I go along. Know where you are, know when to sell. Most importantly, talk to Stuart, talk to your mortgage company. You don't have to take a 30-year mortgage. You can take 25, you can take 20. Let him give you the options and then you weigh them. You can always go back to Stuart 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, and refinance your mortgage. That's very, very important. And importantly, again, know when to cash out. You don't have to live in one place for 15, 20 years. You can move on. For me, after seeing those prices on Saturday, I am wondering, where next? Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, Patricia. That was certainly lovely. You certainly got Stuart smiling. And, Dwayne, of course, I told you he wasn't born yet, but he's a smart person. He did his research, so he watched, and don't forget he was in news, so he knows. He knows that you had to take a number and wait, right? I saw him nod and smile too. What a fantastic story, know when to hold and know when to fold. The story, of course, is available in the special publication of the Observer newspaper, the Star Observer, that came out on Sunday. It is still available, so if you need a copy, check us at the Jamaica Observer newspaper, 40 to 42.5 Beechwood Avenue, just in case you don't know where it is. But Heather smiled, Stuart smiled, Todd continues to smile, of course, because he knows that you're going to buy his paint. We all know that. And of course, it's a wonderful story for Dwayne too. And, you know, can you imagine if you knew then, Pat, what Dwayne knows now? Because, you know, Dwayne is smart like that. Every single year for the last 4 years, he has come with little nuggets. You know, he just drops them gently, puts them out there, right? So there is so much. Of course, those of you listening, every day matters at the Jamaica Observer newspaper. So we have Design Week to inform. You notice it's called Free, F-R-E-E, yeah. So much knowledge.
1 point to me.
So don't forget that you've got Stuart, he's got all the money, don't forget. Todd has all the paint, and Dwayne has, not only does he have all that NHD money, but all of the wonderful things that are happening. He didn't tell us what kind of trees he's going to give you, but we'll get, you know, when we come around again, we'll give him that information. We move from Patricia Henry, aka Budget Auntie, Chartered Accountant and UDC board member, to Danelle Barnes, the Managing Director of ARC, who we saw frantically taking notes as Todd spoke, frantically taking notes as Dwayne spoke. Over to you, Danelle. Lots of good things are happening at ARC, continue to happen. And what really impresses me about ARC is when you visit the young people there that are being empowered on a daily basis. You see the babies in the room holding everything down, doing their thing. Welcome, Danelle. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Novia. Good morning to all your listeners, all the panelists. Good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Angeli. It's important, it's quite interesting that you made that point, Novia, as it relates to the young, because at ARC, we view sustainability from a very simple perspective. It's really the ability to endure. And you will appreciate, and your listeners will appreciate, that for us to continue to endure, then we have to invest in the present, not only in physical infrastructure, but also to invest in our human resources. I want to start from the perspective of community. And community for us at ARC is divided into two. We have what we refer to as our internal community and our external community. So what is it at ARC that we have been doing as it relates to our external community? Well, number one, we have adopted, well, not adopted, we have a full-time relationship with a basic school, and it doesn't get any better. That's where it all starts. On an annual basis, we offer tuition grants, we offer scholarships, not only to our own staff members, but persons from our close proximity. I think earlier this year, Noglet on her team, actually, we sent or offered scholarship to a young girl in Camden College. In addition to that, we provide employment opportunities. And having mentioned employment opportunities, it's important to note that our HR team, which is headed by our general manager, Mrs. Deans, she, in managing the hiring process, one of the things that she ensured that she looks forward to is having new persons who are of the belief and their perspective are consistent with that of ours in the concept of sustainability. So it's a very important part of our hiring process here at ARC to ensure that new staff are very much aligned with the company's policy and philosophy of sustainability. But internally, what is it that we have been doing that would come on the umbrella of sustainability? Again, we have a CXC program. You should know that most of our staff are from the communities that are close by. I would say about 75% of our staff who are from what persons classify as not inner but winner cities. So we invest in a 60 program, get these young men and young women to be matriculated so that they can go on to CMU and the different universities. We also have what we classify internally as an originators club. And what this is really is that staff who are non-management, they're afforded an opportunity every quarter where they can advance ideas, explain their ideas, and once their ideas is implementable, whether now or in the future, then there are financial rewards. I'm very happy to know that over the last 18 months, we've seen tremendous uptake from the staff. We've seen several ideas, sustainable ideas, I must add, that actually emanated from the common staff, the average staff on the ground. I would refer to them as.
Excellent.
But importantly as well, we have a summer employment program where it's divided into two. A, whereby staff members, their children are allowed to work for over the course of the summer, as well as persons who are at the tertiary level or non-staff members, we engage them as well. And for us, again, it comes back to the basic of sustainability, ability to endure. So really investing in the future. Importantly for us, and I'm very happy to say this, Novian team, that recently we were reassessed, if I may use that word, and we have been granted, again, ISO certification. I have to congratulate Novlet and her team because Novlet led that process. And why am I mentioning this is because when we examine sustainability and coming from our own definition, ability to endure, having been ISO certified and recertified means that our processes are able to continue and continue, which again speaks to sustainability. So our institutional knowledge is maintained by us being continued to be recertified. So I want to publicly big up Novlet and her team for doing a fantastic job. And it's important as well that although not involved in the day-to-day activities, I have to give kudos to my chairman who said, Barnes, please ensure that at the end of the exercise, that R continues to be certified, ISO certified. So it's a holistic effort, although deliberately managed by Mrs. Deans. But when we go wider and examine our own environment, the board has issued an edict that all new construction activity must conform to green technology. So it's perhaps premature for me to mention at this time, but we're looking at building out some more warehouses, and all these warehouses and the entire physical infrastructure will be consistent with green technology. Again, ability to endure. But we have engaged also in what I call bread and butter issues, for example, tree planting. We ensure that we have green spaces, not as fancy and as elaborate as the Emancipation Park, but if you do want to rest for a bit, you can in the green space that we have. But even in our manufacturing process, I must add that although we do not have a very expansive solar farm, we do have our own little solar and solar panels, a little solar farm. That solar farm is actually used to provide energy for all our manufacturing processes. So we're very much indeed proud of that. And again, consistent with what I said earlier, that all new developments, all new construction activities as per board instruction, which is led by Mr. Norman Horn, every single one must embrace green technology. We also have our own treatment plant, and our treatment plant, as some of the older persons would say, is the woolmanizing of lumber. Just to give you a quick background, approximately 85% of the lumber that are consumed in Jamaica must be treated clearly to protect against the elements and also against insects that exist in a tropical climate. So we do our own womanizing, we do all treatment. The first class facility, one of the most updated facility in the entire English-speaking Caribbean. And we're very proud that we use this treatment plant to treat lumber and export to countries, for example, like Haiti to Guyana, although they have a massive lumber industry, and also Puerto Rico, and we're now examining other possibilities. But for us, we use the water, we reuse the water. The chemical again is consistent with our concept of ability to endure. So at ARC, we continue to do activities. I'm very much confident that the team the internal team, led primarily by yours truly, and with the support of all the general managers and the senior managers and assistant general managers, and the board led by Chairman Horn, we're very much cognizant of the importance of sustainability, and we will do whatever that can be done within reason to ensure that we continue to be a sustainable entity. I note some of the comment made by the earlier presenters, especially my junior, and I can say junior Novia, Dwayne is my junior in college, and I can't say some of the activities that take place, but he knows very well that he has to yield to my instructions once reasonable. NSC is a partner of us, is one of our collateral customers, and we're very much encouraged to know that they continue to find ways to be more sustainable. And any partnership that can be developed in this vein, ARC is very much committed to do so. Stuart Barnes, I will tell you that we at ARC have a very collateral relationship with NCPA. We will continue to do so in a sustainable way. I'm very much encouraged by Patricia's story. I think when you speak like that, and the more Jamaicans that are aware of stories like that, it bodes well, and it would exude some degree of confidence in young persons, especially thinking that it's an albatross for them to actually own homes in their 20s. So your story is an excellent story. I'm trying to see exactly how I could partner with Todd, because I think that a collateral relationship with hardware and lumber, but you know, ARC is a friend of all competitors. So if there exists any opportunity for a relationship of commercial convenience, then ARC is here and ready. Thank you very much. And I must say to you, a fantastic 5 years, 5 años. And ARC is here. ARC will be here next year to lend support. Thank you, Novi, and thank you, team.
What a fantastic panel we have. Dwayne, I'm sorry, they keep on picking on you. Poor Dwayne, he's a junior. But yeah, to be young and loved like Dwayne. Oh my God, you know, we won't be able to speak to him for year 6. I mean, please. Dinelle, thank you very much. As I said, most of us here are familiar with what happens at ARC. It's a fantastic story. It is as fascinating as Patricia's story. Now, Dinelle, in terms of Todd, you have to come through us. Thank you. Okay. just as an FYI, Todd. Okay. Thank Dinelle. Just as an FYI. Now, when we spoke to Heather about this year's theme, you know, for the 5th staging of Design Week, Echo is Essential. We were fortunate enough last year to have Sir Paul Altman from Barbados on the as one of our panelists, talking about brick and mortar, if you remember, Angie. Yes. And I'm having a casual conversation with Dominic Silvera in Barbados, and I said, "Okay, Dom, go to bed and think, and come back and let me know, you know, the Angie equivalent in Jamaica, what, you know, what's happening in Barbados, that kind of thing." And I mean, can you imagine when she came back and said, oh, well, you know, there's Timothy Altman. Timothy Altman? No, not Timothy Angela, you know, Angelique Martin Spencer's husband, but the other Timothy, right? You know, Design Week was hatched during Design Week in the UK, right. High Street Ken. And, you know, the first thing you hear, oh, well, you know, there's no design district in Jamaica. We made a design district in Jamaica. And in fact, Norman Horn is on record as saying that we need a design district. But COVID happened. But all things are possible. And, you know, when the stars align, it's a beautiful thing because we have, right, Jude Leach on the panel this morning. Jude just finished, I mean, she was up and down, super busy, right? Because she's based across the pond. She's based in the UK. She had a restaurant opening this morning because in addition to the, you know, to the design showroom and managing the world, she was managing the press this morning in the UK, opening a restaurant. Jude Leach is the head of retail, Timothy Alton. And if you want to talk about sustainability, there is no better story. And there's no better raconteur this morning than Jude Leach. Welcome, Jude, and thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. We won't ask you why you're not in Jamaica, because I know that between Stuart's money, Todd's paint, Dwayne's flashy, beautiful personality, right, and Dinelle Barnes, Norman Horn's money, you'll soon be here in Jamaica. Until that time, Jude, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting us. We're very, very connected to you, I think, because we've been in Barbados for many years, in actual fact, 9 years in total. Tim had a home, or has a home, in St. James. We've also had a gallery in St. Thomas, and now we have a beautiful Timothy Alton Gallery in Lime Grove in Barbados. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Ah, good. Okay, good. So I'm not going to sit and talk. I'm going to sit and do a bit of a show and tell, if that's okay. So welcome to London. Really wish I was in Jamaica because your weather is certainly better than ours today. But London does have some highlights, and our gallery, we do believe, is
definitely one.
And absolutely. We have, Timothy Alton has 50 galleries in the world, and the closest one to you is obviously our gallery in Lime Grove in Barbados. And sustainability is not the direction that we pitch, is our main direction, but it is certainly something that's very close to our hearts. Come this way, Serena, because Timothy Alton's story begins with antiques. His father was an antique dealer. So this is his gallery in London. We are in the Bluebird building in London. And the Bluebird building in London used to be a garage at the turn of the century, a very famous motor car garage. Now, if we look outside the door, there we are on the King's Road. And the King's Road is famous for design, not always for globe. This is Timothy Alton, by the way, for those of you who've not met him. There he is, Mr. Timothy Alton. And he lives all of the time in China, looking for sustainable materials, looking for beautiful materials, and looking for amazing things to fill homes with. Now, if you come onto the King's Road in London, everything that is in this gallery is also available in our amazing gallery in Barbados. And as we are on the topic of sustainability and eco-friendly, let's look at some of those materials that are very dear to our hearts and famous within the world of Timothy Alton. We sell pillars of knowledge. So if you have a library or a beautiful home, or you're about to build and you want something a little bit eccentric and whimsical and beautiful, we build these all out of completely old books, repurposed, recycled, upcycled. We love old materials. In fact, the older and the more eccentric they are, the more we love them. So we've been recycling, upcycling. I know, isn't that epic? I can't see you right now, but I hope you're all going, yeah, because it's so beautiful. We've built them in hotels, in lobbies, in pubs, in clubs. Just gorgeous. So upcycling and repurposing is in our blood. I am stood by the most incredible Louis Vuitton trunk. And this is just exceptional. As you can see, it's got a fantastic roulette wheel on the top. It's got pockets and spaces for lotions and potions and glasses, and speakeasy instruments for hosting your guests, like glasses and decanters. And again, we must have the largest collection of Louis Vuitton and Goyard trunks in the world, because again, we repurpose them, we reuse them, and we restore them so that you can use them in beautiful homes. Behind you is a vintage motorbike flying in the air, just because that's what we do, you know. Rather than trash it or send it to landfill, we send them flying through the sky. Behind me is a train that goes right around the building, because we just love customer and retail theatre and engagement. And this table that I'm stood by right now used to be a Chinese vintage junk boat. It was a fishing boat in China. This wood is called axle, and it's approximately 60 years old, and it comes from all of the old fishing boats in China. Moving over here, this big boy is a recycled and repurposed mine-seeking submarine. So it was a mine-seeking submarine in World War II that we've repainted, and we've repurposed and plonked in the biggest fish tank you've ever seen. And there's a button on the end, and it sings, "We all live in a yellow submarine." So what we like, yeah, it does. I'll play it if you want me to. And we can build, we've got about 3 submarines yet left, and we can build this in anyone's home all over the world. We're even making our own yellow submarine to replace the ones that are repurposed when we've used them up. So upcycling, repurposing, using interesting materials is really what Timothy is about. I'm going to show you one of our famous and favourite materials right now, because it's his favourite material. And it happens to be rock crystal. Just look at this. Incredible. This is a beauty. Yeah, this is from Brazil.
Whoa.
Whoa, yeah.
I'm surprised Angie hasn't been there. That's what I bought Angie. Surprise for Angie's birthday. That's your birthday present, Angie.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? Angie, yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, that's, yes.
One big chunk, yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
One big chunk.
And Dwayne's going to buy me the Louis Vuitton case for Christmas.
We're going to be taking orders at the end, so don't you worry about it. Okay, so this is Brazilian. It's unpolished. It came out of the ground just like that.
Wow.
And we have it as a yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, breathtaking. It's a talisman for our brand, because it signatures energy, and it signatures positive energy. And it's also a beautiful natural material that we love to repurpose. We've made bars out of these. We hang them in our lights. We use crystal all over the place, because we just love it. So this piece is for sale, because you wouldn't want to do anything with it. It's just perfect the way it is. It's from Brazil. It's millions of years old, and it's 3 tons in weight. So yeah.
We're loving the Jamaican flag there in your store, Jude. Loving the Jamaican flag. Thank you. Thank you. There it is.
Proud to fly the Jamaican flag.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, that was well positioned. Thank you for noticing that. Yes. Okay. All right. Over here, more about recycling and upcycling and repurposing. This is, well, does anybody know what this is actually? Anybody have any idea? What does it look like?
Angie?
Anybody?
A propeller, yeah.
Yeah, it's
from Casablanca.
I wish it was. Casablanca sounds very romantic right now. But this, again, is from the same junk boats we showed before, the big old fishing junk boats that we rescued in China. And we've rescued and repurposed and refurbished all of the propellers. This is 60 years old. Isn't it just gorgeous? A lovely slab of glass that turns something that would have been sent to landfill into something that almost looks like a museum artifact, preserved forever under a big sheet of glass. Just gorgeous. So we have another product we'd like to show you. that's also all about upcycling, repurposing, sustainability, and eco-friendliness, which is our Edwardian. So this is an old Edwardian floor. And this floor comes from all of the old houses, all of the old hospitals and warehouses and libraries of England. So when a house or a home or a property is about to be demolished or rebuilt, we're very interested in saving what we can. And these are the floors that we save, and we repurpose them into beautiful furniture. So this is called Edwardian. The wood is about 100 years old. It's got loads of stories to tell. Imagine who would have stood on that and laughed, kissed, cuddled, had a conversation or two. But it's a very, very beautiful piece of our collection, and it's called Edwardian. Through in this direction, come this way. Now, this is where the Timothy Alton story started, in fact. This is the antique corner, and this is where Tim's collection of artifacts, beautiful old rare objects, from a Burmese rain drum, to a beautiful French provincial table. All of these things are what have inspired him. Yeah. So any birthday presents around these parts, this is a really good place to come shopping for birthday presents, I'll tell you. So this is Tim's antique rare collection. It's called Rare by Timothy Alton. And it's the roots of our brand. It's the roots of where our business began. And it's here to remind us to always look to the past for your inspiration and always understand the craftsmanship, the materials, the effort and the time that went into these should always be brought into the forward, into the present day, to be employed in what we do now. So in fact, everything in Timothy Alton is made by hand, using simple tools, using time-honored techniques. We embrace those old ancient craftsmanship skills, and along with the old materials too. Also, something I'd like to show you that not many people have seen is our secret hidey hole. So come with me, Serena. This is a repurposed Queen's Century box. Yeah, repurposed. But it's got a secret. Would you like to know the secret? Come this way. Come this way with Serena. Through into the back. Woo! Look at this. Oh my goodness. This is our hidden cinema or theatre. And this is where we bring our guests to tell the story of the brand. You can buy this and put this in your own home. And it also echoes the amazing sustainable story as well, because the walls are clad with genuine English reclaimed timber. Can hook on the wall, big or as you like. Wood is 100 years old, and it's repurposed from beams, floorboard, joists, and warehouses all the way throughout England. We also have this amazing material called Selenite, and Selenite is a crystal that opens the chakra of wisdom. So old materials, natural materials that Mother Nature gives us, we like all of that kind of thing at Timothy Alton. And one of our other materials that we love is the incredible creamy, and this is one of the biggest pieces of alabaster we've ever used. And we illuminate it from underneath with LED light, of course, super sustainable. And it's called the Alabaster Apollo table. So yeah, whoa. We like to do epicness, epic, but we like to do it sustainably, mindfully, consciously, and with a nod to the planet, always saying thank you to the planet to give us such beautiful materials, but also we like to rescue, save, and and reuse as many times as possible. So this is our theatre. Everybody like it?
Yes, it's lovely.
Okay, beautiful. All right, coming out of the theatre. By the way, I could talk for days, so I'm not the best person to go on this, but you'll have to tell me to stop.
Keep going, Jude. Keep going.
Okay, good.
Jude.
All right. I've got a few more things to show you. In the world of Timothy Alton, good afternoon. Hello. They work in the Chelsea Pig. We've just opened our own pub, by the way, in London. So exciting. The Chelsea Pig opened this week. But if you come shopping with us, we will also work with you very much on your own projects, because I think someone said earlier that a home is the most sacred space in your life, whether you're financing it or you're building it or you're painting it or you're filling it with furniture. We all on this call have a really important job. Yes. We're dealing with the most sacred space in someone's life, their home. And it's generally what a lot of people save up all of their lives for. So we at Timothy Alton take that very seriously. And so if you come to see us, we will do you a glorious room plan of your space with renderings. We will help you, give you swatches of leather. Or, by the way, we have the most sustainable tannery that tans our leather in Brazil. It's amazing. We have a tannery in Brazil that reuses rainwater, and we reduce 90% of energy by reusing rainwater to tan our leather. It's amazing. That's another story. Yeah. But we would give you a swatch of the leather. We would give you pieces of crystal that you can take home to see if it make a mood board out of it, to really understand your space. We would also show you all of the different wooden finishes that we do. So we have a whole area set up in all of our galleries, London, Barbados, anywhere in the US, all of our galleries all over the world will help you to understand our palette of color, our palette of texture, and the availability of all of the materials that we have to create the home that you really want. Okay. If you are looking for a fully sustainable home, and I'm going to finish on this, if you are looking for a fully sustainable home, we actually sell and build and make one of the world's sustainable homes. It's called the Dome Home. Yes. And so more of our colleagues, afternoon, yes, welcome from London. This is called the Dome Home. Yeah. This is called the Dome Home, and this was built in China. And if you go on the website, you can see it. Tim Alton lives in this in China. And it's been built from 80 prefabricated pieces that fill 3 containers. And it is one of the most sustainable shapes in the world because it reduces energy via heating and cooling. Yeah, heating and cooling. And it's got the Passive House certificate. And the Passive House certificate is German standards, super passive. There's a membrane that runs all the way through it that makes it really sustainable. And it reduces all of the emissions for heating and cooling. We built it in China, we've built it in Ireland, we've built it in the Philippines, built it all over the world. We'd love to build one in Barbados, absolutely love to. And yeah, this is our dome home. You're seeing a cross section of it right now, and that's something that we are very proud of, and we've evidenced that near our workshops in China. I said that was the last thing I'm going to show you. It's not. I was lying. This is the last thing I'm going to show you. Look at this. This is the Apollo. It was built to scale as per the original Apollo that landed on the moon in 1969. Yeah, wow. And we can build this too. We built, by hand using all those lovely age-old techniques that are famous with Timothy Alton. And inside is upholstered lavishly in hand-finished leather and beautiful alabaster table. And it can be in any finish that you like. And so a lot of our customers are using this for office space to reduce their time at work. They are to reduce their travel to work. So it's their own VIP hub, if you like. We've built one for many, many people all over the world, in restaurants, in hotels, in lobbies. So that's lovely. That's what we specialize in. Yeah, thank you, at Timothy Alton. We hope you've enjoyed your tour around the Bluebird in London, where we sell lots of beautiful objects that focus on design and really making your home a sacred space. But we also have a nod to the most amazing natural and sustainable materials as well. And I'm going to hand over, if that's okay, to my colleague Emma, who's also going to show you another collection in the Timothy Alton collection called The Noble Souls.
Thank you very much, Jude.
My pleasure, really.
Absolutely
my pleasure.
Fabulous. Thank you, Jude. Welcome, Emma.
Hi. Okay, I'm just going to transfer over.
Right. Well, isn't this Absolutely amazing. You see, at the Observer newspapers, every day matters. So, just when you wanted to figure out what Stuart Barnes could get me for Christmas, and the good thing is that my birthday follows immediately after, Nicole. So, Stuart, I told you that Stuart is my new best friend because Dwayne is going to get the Louis Vuitton, the case is the steamer trunks, because that's exactly what they are, right? And and don't think don't think for a second Dinal has gotten away. Thank you very much, Emma. Welcome. Now, that was obviously, Jude was at the flagship, right? If you're not able to cross the pond anytime soon, it's easier to get to Barbados. We have quite a few friends, not calling anybody's name now, with access to jets. So we will see you sooner than you think, Emma. So you are in Barbados. So Jude was in the UK, in Chelsea. Emma is in Barbados. Over to you, Emma. Thank you.
Okay, hi. I just want to welcome you all to our other expression of Timothy Alton. So this is called Noble Souls. And up here, it's all about reconnection. Our Noble Souls is an inspiration about ancient craftsmanship, which is all about time-honored techniques. So everything that is up here is either recycled or repurposed. So our first thing that we have is reconnection. So when you come up here, you feel a whole different expression of Timothy Alton from downstairs. You look at all these beautiful sofas and you take a minute. You walk over, you let your shoulders drop, you let your head tip back.
I do that already.
And you feel again. And we at Timothy Alton like to call this the whoosh factor. This is our round sofa, and it has a pocket spring base with burlap webbing. And all these are filled with premium goose down and feather. And our most exciting thing is that this is the only sofa in the world that is 100% naturally vegetable dyed. So all our Noble Souls products are vegetable dyed and made with 100% linen. We have realm. We then have nest, which is a different thing. So this has a whoosh factor. But no, you still have the same pocket sprung base with the burlap webbing. You still have the beautiful goose down and feather inside, but you have a slightly higher sit on the back. We then have our Oasis, which is a different sit again. So this has a whoosh factor 8. So as I sit down on this, I'm slightly more supported because inside here we have goose feathers wrapped around fibre. So you get a higher sit, and my base is spring with elastic webbing. So this is more for reading and a bit more socialising. The others are for lounging. In Noble Souls, it's all about the time-honoured techniques and the ladies in the Dong village and what they taught us. So we use 100% natural dyes, and the first one I'm going to talk about is indigo, which is one of the oldest dyes around. It's often called gold as commodity trading. It is done by the leaf, and it is oxygenated with water to make this beautiful blue. Different variations of colours. We then have walnut, which is this grey, and it's from the oak trees. And It's dyed again, and the different variations depend on how many times it's dipped. So the lighter is only done once, twice, and 3 times.
Wow.
We then have this beautiful purple, which is done by the Madrid. And it is the root of a tree, and the older ones, which are over 2 years old, are taken and fermented, and that is how we get this beautiful colour. This is has been used as far back in history as 1500 BC. Tutankhamun's tomb on fabrics that they found in there, and also in Pompeii. Then we have beautiful English reclaimed timber. Just here, showing our coffee table with our beautiful handheld joint. This comes from breweries, distilleries all over the UK. It is over 100 years old. It is denailed, left to its natural state. We have a boat, which is very China markets, and it's left to its natural state. These were actually cartwheels, so they still have the original holes. So each one is completely different. This one has the beautiful nut in the top, so it shows the characteristic of the wood. We then have our crofted blade, which is this here, and it's from doors and roofs from the Hutons in China. So then has been repurposed into console tables, side tables, dining tables. We then have smaller coffee table here, and we then also have beautiful vintage rugs, which are from all over the world. We have beautiful cabana chairs, which are made from sheepskin from New Zealand, from the long-haired jetty. We then also have these most stunning rugs, which are made of Syrian glass from a technique which is over 20,000 years old. So each one is hand blown, so every single one will be completely different. We have beautiful cushions, which are petite and all made by hand by the ladies in the dance. We have a beautiful video. If you're one of our customers, you get to come and lounge on our nest sofa and watch the ladies in the Dong village actually looming.
For the mills or done by hand, weaving. Silk.
So up here, you know the size, it's whole different. So I just wanted to show you this, I'm in Barbados, that we are now reusing, repurposing, and recycling everything we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma. We'll allow you to sit and settle. And, well, again, thank you. Have you all taken notes? Stuart, have you taken notes of what it is that you're going to be purchasing? Thank you. And Todd, I know Dwayne got off first. And Dinelle, we'll get back to him. Dwayne, I'm not too sure why you're smiling, because you're going to go to Barbados.
And London.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Thank you very much again, Jude, and thank you very much again, Emma. I thought it would have been, that was, the perfect way to kind of, it was a nice treat, I thought. But we have questions that have been coming fast and furious. There's a question for Heather Pinnock, which came in. If you could just scroll up. Okay, here's a question for you, Heather. We are now focused on protecting the environment for the benefit of future generations. So how are the children and youth of Jamaica being included in these discussions and efforts? We know the influence of Greta Thunberg on world leaders. What's happening in Jamaica? That question is for you, Heather.
Okay,
From
well,
Jacina
I would
Jackson.
have
Thank
to
you,
say
Jacina.
that question really would be one to be answered at the policy level, and that would be at the level of the Climate Change Department and the ministry there. As I said, and as I will make clear, UDC deals mainly in construction, so we don't really engage children normally in our day-to-day construction and development work. However, we do recognize the role of children in what we do, and so you will see that we have included parents and children in our discussions in our public consultation. But I think an important point to add here is to go back to the point I was making about for sustainability to work, it cannot be solely a focus on the environment. And while I appreciate that there are environmentalists who believe in conservation and that nothing should change, we're currently at 7 billion people in the world. And with 7 billion people in the world, it's important that we figure out how to feed, house, and allow all of these 7 billion people to thrive as well. And if we're all to thrive, then we must develop. Development is critical, but I believe that that development must look at sustainability. So we look at society, we look at economy and the environment, and we look at the balance between all three. So just to clarify to that question, the person who asked that question, that I would never say that the environment is the only priority. Finding a balance that allows both economy, society, and environment to all thrive is a critical part of us being able to move forward together.
I think that answers that. A question for Todd from Janet Dowding. What is the longevity of your paints in our Caribbean climate, Todd?
Well, the biggest challenge in the Caribbean climate would be color retention. With the high UV rays, especially on exterior paints, there's just certain colors that are going to perform a whole lot better in your climate. Unfortunately, quite a the colors I'm seeing that are popular in Jamaica are bright, vibrant, blues, greens, and those bright colors lots of times are not really UV stable. You know, that's a trade-off. I mean, if you look at white outside, you're going to get 20 plus years easily out of that product. The challenge always comes with the bright, vibrant colors used outdoors. I will say that we are in the process of improving the color retention in red. We have launched it in some areas, and I believe Jamaica is one of them that has a new colorant that does have better color retention for reds. So look for that, and hopefully that will prolong the lives of some of the more popular colors.
Okay. Jude, a question for you. We did suggest Barbados to Dwayne, but he says London. So how does the shipping, how does it work? I mean, you know, can you shop in Barbados, shop in London, and ship to the Caribbean?
Yes, we ship to the Caribbean from, or get shipped from China. So everything that we have in the UK gets shipped from China. Everything we have gets shipped to the Caribbean from China. And everything is made by hand there. That's where Tim lives. So yes, shipping has never been a problem. It takes a bit longer. It does take a bit longer, a bit. Emma will testify to that. But yes, we ship to the Caribbean, absolutely.
And how long, I mean, what's the lead time? If you see something, can you order it? For example,
if you see something, you can order it straight away, and it's made exactly for you, your size, your color, your leather. So we call it made for you. And the lead time right now to the Caribbean is 24 weeks. 24
weeks, okay.
Approximately.
Okay.
It used to be shorter, slightly longer now.
Obviously. Okay, Stuart.
Because of all of the congestions globally, that's why.
Right, exactly. Okay, Stuart, 24 weeks. There was one from Tanya Campbell. Remarkable story shared by Patricia. I would love to ask if she takes new clients who wish to get advice on how to get similar success.
That's a good question, and thank you, Tanya. Well, I would say I'm not a financial advisor, but I do sit with young women and men too to just guide them about, financial responsibility. And so I have a page at budgetauntie.com, and I try to give free tips, but I also have one-on-one counseling just to help persons through the hurdle of really managing their finances.
Dwayne, you spoke about bamboo, you spoke about planting trees, solar panels. Thank you, Anjali. How can people get this information? Of course, this platform today is wonderful, and we thank you for breaking news. I mean, that's fantastic. It's a newspaper, we break news. But is there a particular department at NHT that one goes to? Is there a telephone number? I would imagine your website is very active. How does one get that information?
Sure. Where it involves the actual research and development arm of the NHT as it relates to these new alternative building solutions that we are pursuing, individuals can always reach out to our construction and development department at our corporate office at Fort Park Boulevard. Heather is familiar with construction and development department. Novia, she had her start with us at the NHT and had a stint with us there. So for our construction and development department, we've recently added research and development to it. And so they're out there, they're in the field, they're having the conversations with the developers and with the persons who are interested in pursuing discussions and housing plans along those lines. Where it involves our actual products and services now, of course, we are happy to say we have a presence in every parish. There's an NHT branch office in every parish in Jamaica. So individuals can always go in and have a conversation with a customer service officer or a loans officer to see which one of the products they can access and how those products best suit the plans that they have in place. Feeling that we're in 2021, it's a digital environment. You can always reach us on all our social media platforms, or of course via our website. We have a live app on our website so you can talk to an officer in real time. Many avenues to get that information.
I think the challenge remains, and whether it's with Todd, whether it's with Donal, the challenge remains, people are building. You look at, what did they say? Look at cranes. Cranes indicate the development of a nation. As of course, the shoes and handbags. If you see lots of movement with shoes and handbags, things are happening, right? Now, I'm sure Heather would, is going to listen keenly to this. When somebody comes to you, Dwayne or Donal, and they're building, do you not push, because at the end of the day it's their money, but how is the suggestion? Do you suggest, do you encourage green space? Because that's so important. Dwayne mentioned earlier, there was quite a brouhaha about Emancipation Park because, I want that, right? But, what role do you guys play in this? Let me start with Stuart, and then I'll go to Todd, because again, when you're building, when you're asking about paint, is it the cheapest paint? Or do you sit down and say, listen, you have a family, you have to think in terms of allergies, asthma, et cetera, So we'll ask Stuart to speak about that first, then Todd, then Dwayne, and then Donal. Thank you. So Stuart, you're first.
Yes. So we have a number of professionals within the organization that these persons are trained to really guide persons as they go along. If you look at the area of construction or even purchasing a home, we have a site dedicated for support to these persons. It's My Home www.jncb.com. On that site, all the different persons to support that particular activity, the land surveyors, we have persons who do valuation reports, and we have mortgage calculators for persons to be able to actually go on, put information in and to get an idea, a look and a feel of pretty much what it is that they're going to be getting and an idea of the cost. From there, we have like mortgage specialists in the branches, and these persons are carefully selected and trained to do hand holding, because what we find is when persons are making a decision, like purchasing a house, it is usually the first house is usually the biggest decision, and they're usually nervous about it. So, it's an onboarding exercise. We look at the finances of the individual over time. If it is that we can do some restructuring to ensure that their disposable income is better, then we actually do that. So the person might come to us with the initial conversation. It might happen in 2 months, it might happen in 6 months. It all depends on what the financial status is like. Then within the organization, we also have subsidiaries that give support to like insurance services, pension services, and health insurance services, all of that kind of support. So when we look at the support for the client, we treat it as an ecosystem where, at every facet of the process, we have face-to-face contact, we have digital contact, and we also have associates who are willing, ready, and able to give support to individuals. So we try to make it as comfortable and as seamless as we can, and we're always available for consultation.
And who's your green person at the bank? Who's the person that will speak to the environment?
Right, so the branch managers themselves and the officers, we all support the green initiative. We look at solar and renewable energy as one of the main activities. We have facilities that we offer to support that particular process. And even going forward, we'll be launching even a new initiative to support the electric vehicle mobility to reduce emissions. So it is a system and a structure that is built from the senior leadership right down to the branches, and we're all tasked with the responsibility to have that conversation with our clients as well.
Thank you very much. Todd, at what point should paint be top of mind? When we start to build, when we can actually almost see it, or when it's finished? At what point do we have the discussion about paint? And of course, sustainable paint.
Paint should really come in very early in the decision making, because it drives a lot of your other decisions. I mean, it's got to be the piece that pulls everything else together, because design is more than just a paint color. It's textures, it's different finishes, it's how everything locks in together, and it's a very important thing. Something Stuart said in the way paint and finance are kind of very different businesses, right? But it all comes back down to individual service. What works best for your customer? What is the best solution for the specific need? So, we produce all kinds of different paints here, and one paint may be better served for one purpose versus another. And we pride ourselves at the store levels, at the retail levels, to assure that our associates are having that conversation. And part of that conversation needs to be, hey, do you have anyone in your family that has issues with asthma or allergies? And something we've done is you'll notice on the products that are asthma and allergy friendly, we actually have a special lid that goes on those gallon paint cans that identifies it and explains that, hey, this is a great choice for people with asthma and allergies. It's always important to protect your family. I mean, we all want to protect our families, and to offer a product that is the safest choice for them it's paramount for us.
Thank you very much, Todd. Dwayne.
Well, we are first and foremost guided as it relates to construction activity by the building regulators, and for every development, we must see that approval being given by the municipal corporation of the parish and also by the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA. And they have certain guidelines based on the size of the development and based on the number of units, etc., the amenities, that there are some things and some features that must be present. For us at the NHD, we insist that all our developments, we've taken that position. We must have a play area for children, we must have green spaces, and we must have recreational areas. Based on the size, again, we may add other amenities to include perhaps a commercial complex to ensure that persons aren't traveling too far, or a health center, so they're not, again, having to go too far and too wide to access certain critical services. I must say, though, we are looking to something the NHD has done, is to look back at some of our older developments that may not have had this kind of a layout, and we did not have the luxury of foresight then, and the construction and the layout may not have been ideal and suited for what we are encountering in today's world. And what we're also doing is to go back to some of our older developments and, where possible, make the necessary improvements to put in some of these critical infrastructure as it relates to these green spaces, play areas, and recreational areas as well.
That is excellent news, and I'm sure, viewers are very happy with that, right? To go back, because as you said, had you known then what you know now, kind of thing. So green space really is important. So you heard it here. Dwayne is going to go revisit some of those properties. Dinal, what would you like to add to this in terms of, construction? You are muted, Dinal.
I think Dwayne hit the nail on the head when he made reference to the fact that all the developments must require the municipal authorities, as well as NEPA's approval. And what we've noticed, when you look at the Jamaican space, I would say about 80% of the homes that are being constructed now are being done through major developers and contractors. Yes. Some who seek funding through the National Housing Trust, as well as financial institutions such as the National Commercial Bank. And they require that green spaces are a critical part of any development. As a matter of fact, no major development can take place now without some form of green space being afforded to. But I think what is also important is the sophistry of the new owners, or whether they're builders or purchasers. What we have noticed, especially more so in the last 5 years, is that a prospective homeowner, despite their social or economic background, despite they buying whether a low-income house or a luxury house, they always ask about green spaces, about green technology. So you find that in this new global landscape, that persons are becoming more and more educated, persons are becoming more and more interested in preserving the environment. And that is why here at ARC, we are already advancing our thinking, where we have hired someone at the senior executive level to examine not only selling green technology on a local basis, but to engage the entire Caribbean and the Americas as a whole. And we're partnered with, this person will partner with our general manager that is based in China to see exactly how is it that we can produce these items at reasonable cost, because what we have found in our research is that most of these new green technology, they're kind of pricey, to be honest with you. So
Yes.
we're trying to find ways where we can produce items that the low persons who are buying the low income homes through the National Housing Trust or any other agency, they are afforded an opportunity to not only have 2 trees, but also to use the technology in their homes and external to their homes. So we're very much a part of that. Our research has led us in this direction. Our customer base is asking us for this. So we are on such a path. I mean, if you talk about just art by itself, years ago, our properties division would be just, no disrespect, like a bastard. But it's so important to us now to embrace a sustainability mindset that we have a general manager that has direct responsibility for the day-to-day management of the property to ensure that we conform to the sustainability principles.
Excellent. That is good news. Is that news good enough for you, Heather? And don't worry about the time. We are going to go a little bit after 12 because, you know, when you've got such exciting content, you've got to share. Is that good news for you, Heather?
Yes, I will say, in my view, any effort, any awareness, every time somebody else learns and somebody else thinks a little different, every time every company makes an effort, those are to be applauded. Now, we would all like immediate transformative change, and yes, I put to you that it's not easy. It's not easy for many reasons. And so as we say in Jamaica, every mickle make a muckle. It is important that we understand that. It is important that everything from paint to financing to building materials, just the knowledge and the awareness, having something like Design Week, having people who come who are interested in design and sharing with them more sustainable options, things that you can do to improve at the level of your community, at the level of building your home, at the level of the things you choose to purchase. These things are important. I just want to touch on green space a little bit. As both the head of the Urban Development Corporation and an urban planner myself, it is the standard, the global standard is about 45% of your city should be public space. Public space here is defined as streets, sidewalks, and that kind of open space, as well as green space, like parks. When you break that 45% down even further, about 30% of that would be streets and sidewalks, and 15% would be green spaces. So if we look at 15% as the approximate amount of green space we should have, you will see that in Jamaica, we're not meeting that at all. In fact, you will see that even in some of the new complexes we're building, the green spaces are tiny little things or a line of palms on the side. And I want to say that looking at green space is critical. I was a part of the development of Emancipation Park way back at the beginning of this century. And this year, I'm very proud to say that the UDC opened the Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay, which is an important intervention. Montego Bay is a growing and flourishing urban center with very, very little urban public space. And so even the 16 acres is huge. It's 4 times the size of Emancipation Park. But even that 16 acres doesn't quite meet the open space needs of Montego Bay. As I said, we don't expect anything to be perfect, but it's a start, and it's an important start. And we must celebrate our wins. We must celebrate every step we make towards getting better, because that is how we really get there. And so I really think that this is important. As you've asked if it meets my approval, and I will tell you every step, every change, every recognition by a financial institution, by a construction institution, that they can do things a little more sustainably, that they can support things that are sustainable, those are the things that take us forward. So that's my short answer. Yes,
absolutely. Dinal used the word expensive. I mean, it's not the word we like to talk about with Stuart on the panel because, you know, he does have all the money. But that's the reality. And I'm happy that he actually said it, because when you're talking about, yes, Heather, you're absolutely correct. Every little step that we take is a great step, right? And we're moving closer. But I'm going to go to Pat with this. Now, Dinal injected the word expensive, and the reality is, if you want sustainability, it is expensive. We will give Jude and Emma the last word on that after Pat. But when you are listening, as many people are listening, they're looking through. We're talking about sustainability in terms of, you know, the paint, the building, the number. But these things cost. These things cost. I would imagine that, as Dwayne said, you know, had we known now what we know then, we would have, but these things cost. So, Pat, first time we heard your story, 25. Let us now look at the average 25-year-old. What would your advice be to a 25-year-old looking to buy their first house now? They want green space, they want solar panels, they want to even pop over to Barbados or London to pick up a little bit from Timothy Alton. What, Pat, would your advice be?
The time to buy is always now. It wasn't easier then than it is now. Maybe it is even easier now because of the information that is out there, the information age. NHT is giving more money than they were giving then. So the time to buy is always now. I would say start small. During my buying and selling of property, I also bought a small property on King's House Road, 490 square feet. It was a studio that I bought only because a young man called me to say, well, I was about to close on this property. I've changed my mind. Come and look at it. And I went and said, bought. And I took a loan from the bank, bought it, and now I sold it to one of my children. So you have to start small and then move up the property ladder. The big car will come after. When I bought my house at 25, I was not driving, I was taking the bus. So I am saying, if you used to eat out 5 days a week, eat out once, you know, take your lunch to work. I mean, the expense will not go away. And the time to buy is always now. That is my advice.
Well, I hope my daughter's listening. Did you hear what Budget Auntie said? She sold it to us. Jude and Emma. She said she sold it to her son. Yeah. Okay, sustainability, and yes, it's expensive. Now, we love the pieces, Jude. We absolutely adore everything that you have, Emma. But here we go again, and I'm using Dinal's word. It's expensive. I'm saying it softly. What would you say? What would you say, Jude, to somebody, you know, going in, you know, just looking, I'm just taking it all in because I can't afford it. Where would you direct that individual?
What I would try to understand is their life, their needs, and take it right back to that first. What, you know, who lives in the house? What do they use the home for? How many people? Because we make many different products out of many different materials. So I'd understand that first. But I think some of the statistics surrounding furniture are quite horrific, actually. In the United Kingdom, some of the statistics are that people change their sofa every 3 years, which is insane for landfill. You could imagine that the planet can't eat up that many sofas. So we at Timothy Alton like to say, our product wears in, it doesn't wear out. So for example, if you buy a leather sofa from us, the more you use it, the more beautiful it becomes. And it is family friendly and user friendly, and you know, it's there to be used and loved. So my advice would be, save up and buy something that really will stand the test of time, that in the long term will save you money because you keep it, you cherish it like a family heirloom. that it becomes more beautiful with time, and you don't want to get rid of it in 3 years' time to follow some trend that might be on then, that a product from Timothy Alton is a product for life. It's not just to follow a trend. We're not trendsetters. That's not who we are. We really do love to embrace daring design with authentic materials. That's who we are. And so a product that's made that way by hand stands the test of time, and that alone is sustainable. And you I think get more joy out of it too. So in the short term, yes, the investment may be more, but not in the long term for those reasons.
And I love that, and especially because we are a culture of throwaway. Yes, I'm guilty. Yes. Yes.
Definitely for the long term.
Absolutely. What has the feedback been like, Emma, in Barbados when people walk in?
So everyone just loves to come in to listen to our stories, because that's what my job is. It's hosting, showing everyone, telling them where these beautiful pieces came from, and then they understand. So they maybe stand back and go, oh, how much is that? And then we sit down and we talk, and I tell them about the techniques that are used, where it's come from. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, actually, that isn't expensive at all. Now you've explained it to me.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, people just go, oh, I now understand why people come in here, because you have the most beautiful things, and it actually represents, I'm going to have this, I'm going to be able to sit down with my friends and tell them that this is a decommissioned Chinese junk boat, or this is English reclaimed timber. And that's what they buy into. They buy into that whole, that they can sit with their friends and talk about the things they're using and setting up.
Thank you very much. All good things must come to an end, and unfortunately, and we are on, in fact, way past our time. This has been, the 5th staging of the Jamaica Observer Design Week, and what a wonderful conversation we've had. I mean, 2 hours of literally, 2+ hours have literally just flown. Obviously, we'd immediately like to thank our partners, National Commercial Bank, NHT, Hardware Number, Rapid True Value, and of course ARC, and of course our amazing panelists who literally took Eco is Essential, Sustainability, the New Hallmark of Living, and Conscious Design, the only way forward. It really is the only way forward. And thank you very much, Heather Pinnock, General Manager, Urban Development Corporation. Stuart Barnes, remember that name, he's got all the money. Stuart Barnes, Branch Manager, NCB Fairview Financial Centre, who gave us a slight scare this morning as he deliberately held us waiting. But it was worth the wait, Stuart. Not all things are worth the wait. Todd, always a pleasure to welcome Todd Myers. Always a pleasure, right? This is the 5th year, Todd. We look forward to many, many more. Todd Myers is a senior consultant, paint, True Value International. And don't forget to have that paint conversation. You don't just buy paint to give you a migraine headache, to give you allergies. You buy paint purposefully made, carefully made for us. And it lasts in the Caribbean too. What would life be without Dwayne Burbick? Everybody should have a Dwayne Burbick in their life. Every single woman especially should have a Dwayne Burbick in their life, okay? Right? Dwayne is a manager, corporate and public affairs at National Housing Trust. Dwayne is used to it. We spoke about bamboo, solar paneling, and the big one, he's going to actually go back and look and see how they can fix what went before. Patricia Henry, AKA Budget Auntie, the biggest takeaway is that she didn't gift her son. She sold it to him. Now, I don't think the children will ever speak to Pat again, but we love that. Patricia Henry, aka Budget Auntie, follow her, get her advice. Her advice is sound, and she's speaking from experience. There's nothing greater than somebody who was there, right? Of course, Dwayne smiled because her first loan was, of course, an NHT loan. Danelle Barnes, Managing Director at ARC. We thank you, Danelle, for embracing the youth, right, through your company, for really empowering them, for giving them an opportunity to shine and to do their best, right? And of course, you use the magic word expensive because, you know, for Design Week, when we speak to sustainability, right, the new hallmark of living and conscious design, the only way forward, we need to understand, yes, it might cost a little bit more in the short term now, but in the long term, it's worth it, right? Jude Leach, Head of Retail, Timothy Alton. What an exciting adventure.
I can't wait to go.
We all, well, you know, Dwayne is taking us, darling. Yes, we can't wait to meet you, Jude, and you better have a bowler hat ready for me because I want one just like you.
Definitely.
It has been a breath of fresh air to know that Timothy Alton is in the region. Who knew? Obviously that, you know, he has a relationship with Barbados. He's lived in Barbados. He has a home in Barbados. Obviously, that's why, you know, he didn't come over with James Bond to visit us in Jamaica. But that's okay. We love Prime Minister Mia Mottley too. Yes, yes. So, Jude, love your story, love what you're doing, and you'll be hearing from us sooner than you think. Emma, you are already in the Caribbean. You're the gallery manager, Timothy Altman, Barbados. And we thank you very much for your presence. We thank you very much again for the conversation that you shared with us today. And we do look forward. It might be easier, actually. Come to think of it, sometimes it's easier to get to London than to get to Barbados. But Emma, we promise to visit with you once. And of course, Anjali, in fact, you'll be happy to hear this, Emma and Jude. You know, I'm a throwaway person, but Anjali is a, you know, restoration freak. And I look back, every time I look at the pieces that she, you know, restored that were on the way out of the house, I really have to say thank you publicly, Anjali. And, you know, Anjali has gotten more ideas from you. So every building that's going to go down in Kingston. I know that between Pat and Anjali, they'll be rummaging through. So thanks for joining us. And of course, you know, Nicole Brackett-Walter, you're here with us, you know, not just warming seats, but you're a dear friend of ours. And you know, 9 out of 10 of the projects that we do at the Observer, so it's always lovely to have you. Plus, of course, you know, you now have the direct line for us to Stuart, so it's all good.
I'm set up, Stuart.
Right. For those of you who, you know, joined late or just want to go over again, just go to the Observer's website. You know, the webinar tab is there. It's hosted on the platform, so you can watch it again. You can actually, you know, take time and watch it and really enjoy and further grasp all of the information. Today's newspaper, every day does matter, and it's the only newspaper that would understand that Design Week is essential. It's wrapped, and it has the schedule for Design Week, some virtual, some live, but it's all there for you to enjoy. Thank you very much again to our partners, National Commercial Bank, National Housing Trust, Hardware Number, Rapid True Value, and ARC. And thank you very much again to our amazing panelists. I'm Novia, and see you soon. Ciao, ciao.
Our homes have become offices, classrooms, even gyms. So if you're going to be spending more time inside, shouldn't they become your sanctuary? October 20 to 27 is Design Week. Your chance to turn your space into just that. With our NCB Home Equity Loan, you can use the value in your home to make your place into your piece. And with our credit card installment plan, you get 0% interest rates and flexible payment opportunities with a single purchase over $100,000 at select merchants. Apply for an NCB credit card now. Your sanctuary awaits.
The National Housing Trust brings you improved services online at any time, any place. Find out how much you can borrow. Check your contributions. Apply for refunds. Check mortgage. Make payments and much more. That's NHT Online. Download at the App Store and Google Play Store or log on to online.nht.gov.jm. The National Housing Trust. Online.
Style up your space with H&L Rapid True Value. From October 23 to 30, up to 60% off housewares, paints, and paint accessories. You definitely don't want to miss it. Delivery and curbside pickup available.
ARC is one of the leading manufacturers and distributors of building materials in Jamaica. We have been serving our global customers and partners, from builders, contractors, interior designers, with innovation, leveraging technology, superior quality, service, and efficiency. We boast a vast product line of building materials such as nails, roofing, steel, wire, fabric mesh, cement, lumber, and much more.